Good afternoon. Thank you to our media partners in helping us share important information with Calgarians. In today's update, we'll be hearing from Mayor Jody Gondek, Calgary Emergency Management Agency Chief Susan Henry, and City of Calgary Infrastructure Services General Manager Michael Thompson. Our speakers will make statements and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. When asking a question, we ask that you identify yourself and the outlet you work for. We ask that you limit your question, yourself to one question and one follow-up. With that, I'll turn things over to the Mayor.
Thank you very much. Oki, Dadanastada, Ambawastich, Tanse, and good afternoon, everyone. We're making great progress on construction, and we are now moving from the phase of removing the pipe from the ground and actually into the phase of replacing those pieces of pipe with the new pieces that we had sandblasted and coated. That work is ready to go. General Manager Thompson will have more details on this shortly, but it is telling us that we are in good shape right now. As the repairs continue, you have also been doing your part, and I appreciate that very much. Yesterday's water usage was at 462 million liters used, and that's good. It's under the threshold, but I know that we've had days when we've been lower. We've been down to about 440, and so I know it's been 16 days of me asking you to do as much as you can to save water. And I just want to say, if you can do a little bit more and we can be in that safer zone of about 440, it's really important to ensure that fire service and hospitals and healthcare facilities have access to important supply. The July 5th timeline is looking really good, so we have about 2 weeks of this to go, Calgary, if everything stays on course. This morning, I popped over to Montgomery and I spoke with businesses about what they've been experiencing over the last couple of weeks. And they've said that although detours are driving a lot of traffic into the community, it's flow through and not a lot of people are stopping. And so I guess I'll just remind you that if you're going into the Montgomery area, consider stopping and popping into a shop to pick up something that you might need. The majority of businesses have also told me that they've hit record low sales, and it's an absolute gut punch for them. So I would say Calgarians who've never been to Montgomery or Bowness, or for those of you who haven't been in a while, maybe consider dropping by and showing those businesses some love. Many businesses have also brainstormed some ways to get more people in the door. Some of them are having live music, others have organized things like crib tournaments, so they're doing everything they can to keep community spirit high while also keeping their doors open. Montgomery businesses also shared some of the practices that they've been using to save water. So some of them are taking the leftover water at the end of the day from their ice buckets and using those to water plants. Others have had a lot of their regulars who are coming in from places like Cochrane bring water for them to water their plants. Others are using compostable plates to reduce dishes. And we had a really good tip from Rising Tides, which is a tap room and a taco shop in Montgomery. They told me about how they're reducing water usage when it comes to cleaning their glassware. So instead of using their glass washer, they are actually running their high temperature dishwasher because it has a set amount of water that recycles throughout the day. So that was a great tip in terms of water conservation. It's actions like this that give me so much optimism that Calgarians, Airdronians, people at Tsuut'ina Nation, Strathmorites, Chestmerians, all of us are going to be able to do our part for the next little while we get to the level of being able to restore our water service. I appreciate everything you've been doing. Let's keep at it. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Calgary Emergency Management Agency Chief Sue Henry.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate our media partners for helping us share important information to Calgarians as this situation progresses. We will be providing updates throughout the weekend at our usual time. The repairs to the water feeder main continue, and we're working as quickly and as safely as possible to restore city water supply. It remains our top priority. While our crews are working, it is important that we all do our part to help by conserving water, especially with the warmer weather coming this week, and by respecting the fire ban that remains in place. To help ensure everyone is able to do their part, we are working with all Calgarians to understand the water restrictions, including water-saving tips translated into 12 different languages on our website. And we continue with a multi-language campaign to make sure this information is getting out to every Calgarian. We are also helping visitors to Calgary understand how they can help us conserve water by developing a visitor information package, which has been distributed to Calgary hotels for their use. In it, we're asking all visitors coming to Calgary to live like a local, to follow the same restrictions, and they can say they helped Calgarians while they were visiting our beautiful city. As mentioned yesterday, we have opened pickup locations for Calgary's construction industry at the Ogden Boat Launch and at the Baker Park on the Bow River. These sites provide non-potable water free of charge for construction work. So far, we have distributed 48,784 liters of water for the construction industry across 13 different trucks that have come by for filling. We do have some good news for our citizens today. We've heard from many people who haven't been able to collect rainwater and they need non-potable water for their plants. To support this, on Sunday, we are opening a station at both Baker Park and the Ogden Boat Launch for residents to access this non-potable water as well. We will be updating calgary.ca later today, so please check there for additional details. Residents can come, fill up a jug or container of river water that they can use for plants or in their yard. Please make sure that you pick appropriate sized containers, as the containers will get heavy when they fill with water. This is not about filling a huge water tank or tote. Take only what you need for now, and we're continuing to look at options for how we can expand these stations across the city. I want to emphasize that river water is not safe for drinking, and it is only to be used outdoors. Similar to the rain that you've collected in your rain barrels, if you're watering with it, pour it onto the root and not onto the fruit or the leaves, especially if you're using it for edible plants. Thoroughly wash your produce before you consume it. And before you reuse the container for any household use, please clean and sanitize the container. If you've gotten rain barrel water still, please continue to use that, and let's get used to using rain barrels as containers to catch the summer rain that we receive in Calgary all of the time. Again, we are working to get non-potable water to the people and businesses that need it. Outside of that, keep doing what you're doing to conserve every drop of water that you can. For those that are not complying with the water restrictions, our bylaw officers continue to be out in the community responding to calls for service and issuing violation tickets and warnings. To date, our bylaw officers have had 2,386 water misuse calls. They have issued 621 verbal warnings and 14 violation tickets. In reference to the fire ban, we have had a total of 172 calls for service that have resulted in 19 written warnings, 71 verbal warnings, and 5 violation tickets. The total number of calls received into 311 to date is 8,450. We are all very pleased to see Calgarians and businesses working so hard to reduce your water use. Your efforts are making a difference, and they're appreciated by all of the water teams and all of us here at the City of Calgary. Like you, we are also very much looking forward to resuming water service and working hard to make that happen as quickly and as safely as possible in a responsible way. Until then, please make every drop count. I will now pass it over to General Manager Michael Thompson to provide us an update on the construction.
Good afternoon. I'd like to give you an update on the repairs at the 5 hotspots. We've completed removing all the damaged pipe in 4 of the 5 hotspots and have taken it off-site for further analysis. The reinforcing steel is being installed at the location of the pipe that will not be replaced due to the thrust block. I was out speaking with crews this morning, and we have made excellent progress with the night shift installing the rebar needed for this casing, and concrete is scheduled to be poured later today. I would like to thank Graham Construction for responding so quickly to the call for their fast work and in helping us to get this repair completed. The sandblasting and coating of the replacement pipes is nearing completion, and pipes will be delivered to site when ready for installation. Today, crews are heavily focused on welding the adapters required at the locations where we are replacing the pipe. The adapters are used to connect the existing pipe to the new steel pipe sections. The adapters are used to connect the existing pipe to the new steel pipe sections. The new steel pipe sections will be installed The welding work will continue throughout the weekend until the new pipes are installed. I'm pleased that we are making positive progress at all of the repair locations and remain on schedule. We have received a few questions regarding locally sourced pipe and materials. Wherever we can source locally, we are doing so through our contractors, crews, and materials. The pipe we received from San Diego was specific to this feeder main and could not be sourced locally without slowing down the repair timeline. I wanted to thank EMCO for fabricating the custom adapters, as well as Wheatland Blasting, who did our sandblasting and epoxy coating. The community and business relations team continues to check in on the most impacted residents and businesses due to construction in the Montgomery and Bowness communities. As mentioned yesterday, we understand Calgarians want to know more technical and historic information about our water system infrastructure. We are committed to providing answers and sharing publicly. We have updated the frequently asked questions on calgary.ca and will continue to share information as it becomes available. Please know the experts we rely on to supply these technical answers are also the experts all Calgarians are depending on for the safe repair and restoration of water service to our communities. The third-party review we've discussed in the past will also offer further details for the why and what next. This will help inform a comprehensive sustainability plan for our water network. More information on the third-party review will be available in the coming days. I'm incredibly proud of the collaborative work the team has done, from city crews to contractors and all our partners that are supporting the repair and restoration of water service from this feeder main. When the team determined the additional hotspots last week, there was a rapid mobilization to get the work started and completed as quickly as possible without sacrificing safety and work quality. I would like to thank everyone across the country who's reached out to offer your support. We truly appreciate it. As well, I would like to continue to thank all Calgarians and other municipal communities for your continued patience and water conservation efforts. I will now turn it back over to Mayor Gondek.
Thank you, GM Thompson. In addition to our amazing residents in Calgary and surrounding areas, I also want to thank visitors to our city that I've been meeting at events, in restaurants, and even in the grocery store. I'm enjoying your stories about how you're living like a local. Thank you for sharing the ways that you are reducing your water usage while you're in our city. Keep at it, everyone. We can do this, especially with July 5th looking very real in terms of a timeline. It's just a little while longer to go until we can get the system back up to the way it was functioning before. I'd like to now go to Chris to field any questions that the media might have.
Matt Speed from Calgary Herald. With temperatures going up, do you have a baseline of how much water usage tends to go up in times like these when we hit high 20s, close to 30 degrees?
I don't have the details in front of me, but we can get that for you. We do track historical water use trends, and we can look at what our trends are across the months and what the temperature changes are and how that drives water usage.
And there was a letter sent to car washers earlier this week asking them to shut down. Was that request mandatory or was that optional?
So we are asking car washes to do that. We do have the ability under the water bylaw to go in and turn off the water if they aren't complying, but at this point in time, it is an ask for them to stop operations.
Sidney Bizard with Rebel News. I asked yesterday about the private property locations and usage considerations. I have yet to receive a response. I just want to know again, what private property needs accessing or potential accessing? Is it specific locations within a radius of the repairs, or is it citywide?
Yeah, thanks again for the question. We have accessed some private properties adjacent to the repairs to expedite the repair process. Again, as I've mentioned before, we are moving as quickly as possible to complete these repairs. We're bringing in as many crews as needed to do this as quickly and efficiently and as safely as possible. So when you go out to the construction sites, you'll see we have taken over 16th Avenue and shut the street down to complete this essential work for Calgarians.
And it's isolated to those three zones?
Yeah, the property that we're accessing is in the construction area.
And then for the mayor, you mentioned earlier earlier today a proposal you'll bring to the city for greater investment or consideration into our critical infrastructure. Does this take into reevaluation the mass rezoning plans and the infrastructure needs thereof? And why did it take a critical infrastructure collapse that risked Calgarian security and safety for this proposal to be brought?
So one of the things that we'll be doing next week at our council meeting is talking about our budget. We'll be discussing what we wish to do for the mid-cycle review that comes up in November, and we will also have a pretty fulsome conversation about future four-year budgets that we're developing. And it is my intention to ask administration very clearly what they need in terms of budget to ensure that we've got proper technology and monitoring systems for all of our water infrastructure. We have been exercising monitoring and modeling techniques in the past that I think could be strengthened with more technology. But again, we need to know from our expert teams how much money they need to do that.
Yeah, I understand that there will be more details about the independent incident review, but can you tell us if it's begun, if it's started already?
So General Manager Thompson can probably weigh in with a bit more detail. What I can tell you is that the framework has been completed, and we're now moving into the phases of identifying who would be on the panel and then standing up that panel and having them be publicly announced. But GM Thompson?
As I mentioned yesterday, we've reached out to industry associations and members across the country to start to talk to them about experts that we can bring on to that independent panel. Really what we are looking to do is bring on a panel that's guided by experts from academia, the water industry, water utility management and engineering firms, and the government entities focused on infrastructure and resilience, and we'll be announcing more details in the coming days.
Do you have a follow-up? You good?
No, I don't today.
One more? One? Is that right? Just back to the car wash thing. Under what circumstances would you turn off access to water for some businesses?
You know, right now is not the time for Calgarians to be cleaning their cars. It isn't an essential use of water, and we're really encouraging both sides of that. Asking the businesses not to be open for that particular service, as well as asking Calgarians, it's not the time. It isn't a life safety risk to have a dirty car. So it's about having compliance from everybody in terms of helping us reduce our water consumption.
And for the mayor, is it too early to bring this proposal to City Hall, considering the investigation has yet to resolve?
The work that we do at council continues whether we have a situation on our hands like the water feeder main break or whether it's regular course of business. And our job as members of council is to make sure that we are asking questions of administration to understand where budgets have been cut in the past that need to be restored and what we can anticipate for future needs. So the work continues, and the independent incident review is something that will help us make more informed decisions into the future. But for the time being, we will be posing those questions to administration next week about what we need in the budget.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. You'll get it. I just want to be sure. Yeah, thank you. I'll